And we're
And we're
live.
live.
Welcome everyone to a new session. I think that we already have 15 people live, which is kind of like a record so far, because usually it takes like a few minutes. So thanks for joining. If you're live, thanks for joining. My name is Ignacio. I'll be your host today. I'm part of the Kiflo team, and I have also Tom from the Kiflo team, my colleague. He will be moderating the chat and all the questions. So if this is the first time that you join, let me explain a little bit the format. This is a rapid fire Q&A session. Typically, what we do is we encourage people from the audience to actually ask questions. So I'll encourage you to put all the questions that you have for the guest today before, like, when you have it. Not, don't wait until the end. This is kind of like question, and then the guest will answer your question. Okay. And also, before we start and I introduce the topic and the great guest that we have today, I wanted to ask you if you can drop in the chat, what's your current role? Tell us, please, like, what's your current role at your company? What do you do? Or if you're a consultant, just let us know what you do so that we have an idea of the audience. Hey, George, Lauren, please, yeah, you'll get the recording afterwards. So Mike is a channel directory, Marco is a channels and alliance director, Chas is a consultant, Oriana, channel marketing manager. Amazing, amazing, love it. Cool. So let's give one more minute and then we'll start the topic. So Steven is a publisher development manager. Nice. Dave is a consultant now interviewing for channel head for a global vendor. Good
Nice.
luck on that,
Good
Dave.
luck. Yeah.
George, BizDev lead partnerships. June, it's a business growth specialist. Nice. Amory, it's a BD sales and partnerships. And Arena, it's a tech partner success manager. Amazing.
I
It's
like that there is a
super.
mix of roles. So we have
Yes, there's a huge mix of
leadership,
roles, and we have,
marketing. Yeah, nice.
yeah, beautiful. So I think that we have already 15, 18 actually. So I'm gonna kick it off, and I'll introduce the great guest that we have today. We are super happy to have her. She's actually a customer and a friend of us. So please let me introduce you to Marta El Bay. She's from Surfe, and she has a great story. She's now the head of partnerships at Surfe, but she started like with kind of like the basics, and we'll hear everything from her today, like her story and how he achieved all the success that she has done. So Marta, it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome, and thanks for your time and doing this.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
A real pleasure. So, before we begin, and usually we do this, and well, let me introduce you also the topic which Marta is going to talk about today, which is the groundwork to get growth, like how to build those partnerships that actually scale. Okay, which is what everyone is looking for. So, today we have a poll. Maybe Tom, we can put it to get up now. And this is something that we typically do to just get an idea of where you're at. So where do you primarily find and identify the right partners for your business? Okay, just let us know. So it could be industry events and conferences, it could be existing customers and referrals, competitor marketplace, partner ecosystem, or others. If there are others that we didn't list there, just tell us in the chat. But this is going to be something that it will help Marta to understand where you're at today.
Okay.
Okay, so Marta, we're having events, which is something
Yeah.
that you're going to talk now in just a
Yeah.
second. So events, existing customers and
Yeah.
referrals, partner ecosystems, makes sense. So
Yeah.
existing customers, oh, it's kind of
I see
like
there is like quite a balance.
industry
between-
and existing. So events and conferences and existing customers seems to be kind of like, now it's a little bit more
yeah.
tending to the existing customers and referrals, which makes sense. But yeah, industry and events and conferences also seem to be some places that work.
Yeah.
And
No,
maybe we can
definitely.
yeah, maybe we can start with that, because you have a great story, Marta, and uh, maybe you can share that as well, because I asked you, like,
Yeah.
this is famous, right? But you attended a lot of events and
Yeah.
you had kind of like a great marketing strategy, but maybe you can share that with the audience today before we deep dive into the first subtopic.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like as you were saying, like we attended a lot of events, and we tried as well like the booth strategy. We tried those like going around and the classic leaning to look at the badges of people and then like trying to start a conversation. What we found was more effective in the end is like those creative or like out of the box ideas, and sometimes like the simplest things can be actually the best ones for getting results. So I actually wanted to share like just a picture, for instance,
Yes, go
like
ahead and
our,
share it. This is famous, by the way.
yeah, this is what
So
sales.
iconic.
So just for context, the booth at Agent Force is roughly 30-40K to rent. So of course, Surf is a startup. We don't have that kind of
But
financement, and also like in terms of having a booth, it's like we were really discussing about the ROI. So
mhm,
are we really sure that we're going to make 30K out of this event? So what we did was basically just taking our surfboard and going around the event with it. And funny enough, then we left it at a booth where there were people taking pictures, and everyone was actually taking the board to make pictures. So that was
mhm,
quite random. But also like the head of partnerships at Salesforce and the CEO of Salesforce for France, they picked it up and took a picture of that. And also like months later, our picture was used like in some ads on LinkedIn. So we found out about that also like quite randomly. So we call it like marketing 3.0, where the investment in the end was like only the 200 euros we spent for that board, that old board that then we painted with our logo. So that's just an idea on like some out of the box things that you can work on like without having a booth.
mhm.
And I mean, like right now, this is an example because this is our brand, but I saw also at events like some very creative initiatives.
Yeah.
There was a company, Trigify, that actually posted like they put everywhere at Sastock in a simple piece of paper a QR code and saying, "Do not scan me." So of course everybody was scanning it. And then they were redirected to a landing page where they said like, don't give us your email. And everybody was giving the email because everybody
Wow.
wanted to see what that was about. So there are a lot of ideas like that you can use at events, also like outside of the booth, especially because getting people into the booth yeah, can be quite time consuming. A lot of times, you're
Yeah.
staying there at the booth, but not really, the people are not really coming. So those are like some ideas as well
I
to
love
get
this story. I love this story, Marta, and I think that Branjal he said it's brilliant. I mean, so I think that it worked really well for you. But let's go to the first subtopic, which is kind of like the foundation. When you started, there was kind of like nothing. I mean, you basically build the foundations from scratch. So we want to learn how you actually achieve this, and if you can give the audience a short version of how you actually managed to do this.
Yeah, of course. And actually, I would love as well, like if people in the chat like can write if they also had experience by building partnerships from scratch, or if they're also like building partnerships, that would be really interesting for me to know.
Please let
Um,
us know. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. When I joined Surf, so I joined 2 years and a half ago as first partnership person, and I was brought in to build partnerships. I was lucky enough that there was buy-in in terms of the company. So my CEO David is really into partnerships and knew the value. He just missed the organizational part, or like really how to build an actual partner program. So when I joined, I actually told him like, yeah, everybody in the company needs to live the partnership spirit, and this is what I found, which is great. Interesting enough, like when I arrived, there were roughly 170 partners registered in the system, and only 10 of those generated revenue or like referred leads at some point. So of course,
Okay.
like my first reaction was really like looking at what was there. So what were the partners generating revenue? Was there a link between those partners in terms of market, in terms of company size or a type of partner? And then I also analyzed like other profiles that might have been like not generating revenue, but that looked like quite interesting, like not probably Gmail addresses, but like real companies.
Mhm.
And starting from there, what I did was basically reaching out to those that were active and trying to understand their reasons. So why at a certain point they decided to test Surf and become partners. So really try to build the partner profile based on the exchanges that I had, and also with other companies that were like in our partner network but never generated revenue. I was really curious in getting an understanding of what was that initial thought, why like at a certain point not only they went to the Surf webpage, they saw the product, but they also asked to be partners. And I started to do like, I don't know if the people in the audience are familiar with this methodology, but I've coming from a sales background, I've always used the MEDIC framework. So making sure like, there's like metrics, economic buyer, decision criteria, decision process, identify the pain, and who is the champion. So I always use this kind of framework to understand like, okay, in the prospection, like who could be like the best partner, what is their motivations, what KPIs are they looking at. And then like I was validating this framework. So I was validating also like these profiles that I was building by having conversations with different partners. And then basically I grew these profiles. So I kept adding more and more information, classifying certain partners under this sort of framework and these categories that I was creating. And in the end, like I wanted to make it simple. So I'm honestly like not very a fan of partner programs, but I have a lot of tiers, sub tiers, and I said like it doesn't make sense at our scale. So I made it very simple. Identify that we had 3 main profiles that were kind of recurring profiles. So we had this sort of influencers, affiliates, content creators. So I said, okay, this is like one box of partners. We did have agencies. So I said, okay, this is another box. And then of course we did have integrations, and like with Pipedrive, HubSpot, and Salesforce. So then like my idea has been, okay, working on those as a separate type of partnership as well. So keep it very simple, but just like dividing them by needs, by profile. And then of course they have different needs. They're looking at different metrics. Their decision criteria and decision process is slightly different. So that was the framework that I used at first. And from on this, basically we built the partner program.
That's a great summary, and I think that there are a lot of takeaways there just in what
Mhm.
you just said. I mean, I love the fact that you kept it simple. Asking the most active partners, it's key. I mean, and why they were doing it, and then applying Medic, it's super. I mean, I think it's super smart. And then, of course, I think that it helped a lot to have the buy-in from your CEO, right? That was key.
Yeah, of course. What I always say is that if you don't have the buy-in from your CEO, from the company in general, that limits really a lot your possibilities. Of course, like partnerships requires a lot of resources in terms of time, in terms of actual resources. So the tools we know also like PRMs, like we're using CRMs, PRMs, and different tooling, and then also the resources that you need to give to the partners and the commissions on top. So it requires a lot of resources, and if your leadership is skeptical about the effectiveness or not or partnerships, then also like it's more of a challenge. While for my CEO, partnerships, and also for the rest of the company, partnership was clearly a channel that we wanted to grow in.
Mm. That's
We just
that's
didn't
key.
know how.
That's key, Marta. I mean, what you
That's
just said. I
great.
mean, we heard so many people struggle with that, so I think that that's key. And I think that Panjal has a question, Tom.
Yes, Pranjal has a question for you, Marta. Would
Mhm.
love to know, to whatever extent you can share, what the channel market fit would look like for Surf, and how are you navigating to that? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I always take like to define really the fit. Uh, what I'm really looking at as well, like, is what you have as a product. So I always start for that, like, what is our value proposition? What pain points are we solving? What is like our product specificity? So that's really the goal. Is this is like a work that is done as well with customer success, with sales. So all the revenue teams, like we all start from the customer, we all start from the product. And then in terms of channel, for me at first, I had to say, was like a simpler, because I knew like the product was simpler as well. So we were born as a simple Chrome extension connecting LinkedIn with CRMs. So of course, like for me, the CRMs became like quite the center. So if we have an integration and our product doesn't work without a connection with the CRM. And then, of course, we know that with these CRMs, there is actually a rich ecosystem of other app partners, but as well other resellers and consulting agencies. So we knew that if they were reselling a CRM, and especially like if they were working, we were also like checking, for instance, for CRMs like HubSpot. They can be like a bit more complex. They have not only like the sales hub, like maybe Pipedrive has, is more focused on sales, but they also have marketing. They also have more custom development. So the idea was really like understanding the person, like the partner fit based on what services they were offering. So if there is like a partner that is reselling HubSpot and is offering sales optimization services, then, or like any CRM implementation or lead generation services, this is where we saw the good fit for us, because then Surf becomes like part of a clear narrative, where of course, like if it was like another use case, probably like we wouldn't fit that well. So this is how we started. And then of course, as the product changes and we add more features, but as well, like we enlarge like the scope of our own product and our customers, of course, then it also affects the way we look at partners. So right now, for instance, having an API and webhooks just pushed us to think, okay, what other partners we excluded before because we didn't have the product fit, but now we actually have a fit and we can target them and really build a partnership on top. So I would say it can change, but like at first, it's always like the product and the pain that you solve for the customer. And from there, you can really see then what type of partners can be really a fit. I hope it answered the
That's
question.
super smart, and I think that was a super complete answer, Pranjal. I hope you enjoyed that answer. And again, it's super smart what you just said. Like, identify the fit and then become part of that narrative. It's a great example. So maybe if we don't have any more questions, we can jump to the second subtopic,
Yes.
which is I think that the interdepartmental revenue stream, which is a great concept, but I would love for you, Marta, to explain this because we have spoken about it, but how did you achieve this?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times in partnership, at least like what I've seen, like with my experience with other companies, there is, of course, like partnerships is relationship based. So as opposed like to, for instance, like with sales, where of course the relationship with the customer is important, but it's more transactional. Partnerships is based on relationships. That makes sense. But like what I've seen is that a lot of companies treat partnerships as purely relationship. So we do have the classic partnership manager, channel manager, handling a relationship with the partner. The partner just sends some referrals. The channel manager just send them to sales, and sales close them, and basically that's it. And then the partnership manager is only responsible for keeping that relationship. I actually think that the partnerships managers are should be the most complete figures that we have in a company, because they should be somehow A's. So really do that work. I was mentioning MEDIC before. I actually never seen the MEDIC framework being applied for partnerships in my previous companies, which was quite surprising. But yeah, they have to be like account executives, really, so really understand like when they look for partners, really have the sales approach, looking for pain points, and really sell the solution, even if it's like just for a partnership. They're not like actually selling the solution, but they're selling the partnership. Then they have to be, of course, partnerships manager in terms of handling the relationship, the lead generation side, and customer success managers, so making as well, and account managers, making sure that the partner knows as well, like how to work with the tool, really making sure that there is this success component, where he knows also like how to identify the upsell opportunities, how to identify the churn risks, and really like become like an internal member of your company. So I think a partnership manager should be like this interdepartmental figure that basically has a lot of different skills, and doesn't shy away from jumping also on calls with their partners, customers when needed, and like be active part on the negotiation rather than just sending leads like only to sales, and then like not even knowing like what really happening in those calls. This is also like what we have been developing right now at Surf with my team. So we are basically full cycle partnerships managers. meaning that we take care of the partner from A to Z. So we're really making sure that not only is enabled, but then that we make them successful and really like we participate actively in their activities. So this is how I've seen partnerships so far, and this is the model that we want to implement. So yeah, a lot of a sales approach, let's say.
That's great. I love the concept, like full cycle. I mean, it's definitely full cycle. But Marta, I wanted to ask you, do you have any tips for someone that it's just like struggling to getting that buying from those internal teams? Because sometimes it happens that they are struggling to get not only the C level on board, but also the resources, as you mentioned, from probably the sales team or the marketing team.
Yeah, I think like a lot of times what happens is that I've seen this a lot in meetings where you have a sales manager coming with their own forecasting and data, marketing the same, success the same, and a lot of time like partnerships doesn't seem to have that kind of data at hand. So forecasting can be more difficult for partnerships, but I think it's really important to show like what partnerships bring in, like what making also difference between like what partnerships influence in terms of revenue, what type of revenue is sourced by a partner, and then like what type of revenue is closed by the partner. So having like different metrics, but making sure that you present data, because this is always what is lacking in terms of partnership, and it's this relationship with the component of the relationship with the partner that takes over. But having like managing a relation with the partner doesn't mean that you don't have to present data. So I would say like definitely to get the buy-in, you need to make sure that also like you know what you're tracking, that you have a strategy that is data driven, that you have dashboards, tools in place that say, okay, even if it can be like at the very beginning, the revenue might not be big, I can measure the impact of every action that I take. So also like you basically show to the leadership that you have structure in place and that you're taking decisions because of data.
That's great advice. And I think that Helen has a question that is related to this, right, Tom?
Very similar, yeah, exactly. So Helena, she wants to know, how would you balance revenue expectations with lack of resources due to leadership skepticism and not wanting to invest in resources and different partnership types until results are shown?
Yeah. What I did like in the past, mainly like as I mentioned like before with Surf, I got quite lucky because they were quite bought in already in the partnerships vision, but I was not always that lucky. So in the past, I've asked directly, sat down with the leadership and asked, okay, what is that? What are the results that would let you give me more resources? So before asking for some resources, I asked, what are you looking at? What do you define as success? Is it only revenue? Is it lead generation? Is it opening also like certain markets? What do you see as a success? So already getting these expectations as well from leadership and then building on top of that. I think that that's really the key, because we might think it's only revenue, but a lot of times can be like partnerships can actually unlock new markets, for instance. So this might be like a result that then you can track, and it's measurable. So really like getting the expectations that are measurable expectations, and then like build your strategy on top of that.
That's great advice. Defining success. I think that's the best that you can do. Cool. And the last one, I think Thomas has another one. Tom, for Marta.
Yes. Hey, Marta, loved your take on Medic and how partner manager must understand how to sell and upsell. Also, what's your take on account mapping with partners and user target accounts? Do you do it yourself or do you delegate it to your sales team? How can you scale this?
So that's actually a very interesting point. We are taking a sort of mixed approach, depending as well on the types of partners that we work with. So we do work with some agencies, some resellers that take care of the customer from A to Z, and they own the relationship. So in this sense, what we value is really the partner handling their own customers, and the account mapping is more done with the partnership manager, and the partnership manager takes the role of kind of an advisor. So what we did, for instance, what we're doing in our QBRs with partners, is really sitting down, looking at their pipeline, also helping them understand like what opportunities can be, because sometimes they they didn't consider like some use cases that might be actually a fit for Surfe with some customers. So we really do this kind of work of sitting down and then building the strategy with them for the quarter. So that's one part. Where really the partnership manager owns this relationship, and the partner owns the relationship with their own customers, and we basically guide them. There is also another approach, specifically with some partners that either they are like smaller, they might be one man, one woman army, and they just don't have the bandwidth to really work and like with the customer like in detail, like on the Surfe use case, and also like making sure that the customer uses the product and that they have like no issues in using the product. So in this sense, what we are doing is working more with customer success and sometimes also like sales, depending on the size. So really making sure that we do this account, we basically have this account list, and then we discuss the opportunities with the success team, for instance, and we have the support of the other revenue teams. It really depends on how the partners work and also like the type of partners you work with.
Correct. Yeah, no, that's
We
great.
have another one actually, Marta.
Maybe the last one, and then we need to move on. Yeah.
Exactly, yes, because we don't have a lot of time. So Steven's asking, hey Marta, do you have any recommendations on list building tools for identifying B2B publishers, example Radar?
Oh my god, like in here I can be really biased. I would say like if you want to try Surf as well, like we do have a list building options.
Definitely do. Try Surfe.
So that might be like I can be really biased on that. But yeah, just to say like there are me personally, I'm using like a lot Surf and Sales Navigator. So of course like Surf because I have the tool, and I always use it for my prospection, and as well like a Sales Navigator I think is a great tool. So I do a mix of both. And as well, I'm starting to use ChatGPT for this purpose. So a lot of times I get some lists out of ChatGPT, and then I use Surf to enrich them and find more firmographic data. But I use a mix of this.
That's great advice. Cool, Steven, that you will take it out. So maybe we can move to the next topic, which is the last one. And
Perfect.
this is a
Yes.
great story, by the way.
Pipedrive.
So this is kind of like, how did you implement it, everything that you just told us, and landed a partnership with Pipedrive? I mean, how did you do that? Being Surf a small company, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. We are now we are slightly bigger. We are 60 people, but like when I started, we were roughly 20. And when we closed the partnership with Pipedrive, we were still like a 30-ish. The type of partnership, just like for everybody, for context, we did have an integration with Pipedrive. It was the second one that was built after HubSpot. And the partnership that we have right now is actually quite unique. So it's the first partnership of this type that Pipedrive has ever done, where basically we are pushed to their customer base. So they promote Surf via every channel. We are part of their onboarding flows, and also like we are part of their product. So they have actually also Surf present in their leads tab, which is something that will never happen. And I got a lot of questions afterwards, since it was like quite a big buzz. I got reached out by other app partners that were asking like, oh, but how did you do that? And like, did you there was like, oh, the partnerships director like replied to you? Did you know the CEO? None of that. So I actually, that was quite interesting, because I don't think that if you write to the partnerships director at a company, like I mean, they might reply, but a lot of times like I would assume that they don't really reply. It was like my CEO David was trying as well, like to reach on the leadership. And then like what we thought, and this was like really a work that we did, both of us, was okay, if we reach out to the directors or heads, we might not get a reply, or like a lot of people just do that. We could reach out to the channel partner managers, but at the same time, like imagine like, or they is, but like imagine like the partnership team at Pipedrive. Now I say Pipedrive, it can be like a HubSpot, it can be any other of these big companies. Imagine they are being targeted by literally all the app partners that try to build some co-selling. So we try to use another approach. Instead of going top down, we decided to start from down and then trying to work our way to the top. So what we did, what we tried at least, was getting on board with some partners. So we started to speak, like we reached out to partners. We saw that there were like actually true Pipedrive partners testing Surf. So we reached out to them and say, listen, we give you Surf for free. You have full access to the product. We give you a lot of credits. We really give you the free account. The only thing that we would ask you if is that if you could give us feedback. So now you're using it. In a month we're coming back, and you can tell us what you think. Is this something that helps you and that you would see your customers using it? So we did in this way with these two partners. And then actually one partner said, I recommended this in the partner network of Pipedrive because I think this is like a really great tool. So we got other 3 partners then testing the tool. And what we did was, okay, since you like it so much, would you please speak with your channel partner manager at Pipedrive and tell them that you really like the Surf and that they should speak with us. So this is what they did. So we started to work with the partners, asking them to bring us up with the channel partner manager. Funny enough, vast majority of those partners had the same partner manager at Pipedrive, like under UK, that was handling the UK territory. And so he reached out to us saying, hi, I was speaking with 3 different partners of mine, and they all brought up in our QBR, they all brought up Surf, saying that I should definitely speak with you. So I don't know who you are, but like I really want to understand why. So this is how it all started. We started speaking with this channel partner manager, showing like this is what we do, and he said, "Oh, actually, this would be really useful for me as well. I'm using LinkedIn a lot to prospect." Then we say, "Okay, free account for you as well." And then like so like, oh, and that's like, can you introduce us to someone else in your team? So we never mentioned director or anything. Like we said, like someone else in your team. So like, yeah, why not? So we got introduced to another channel manager. He saw the product and said, oh, actually, I know one partner of mine had a case where this would have been very helpful. So this is all started in this way. So and funny enough, then we had actually the channel team using Surf internally. So they were advocating this for partners, and then like when they were chatting with partners, of course they were showing this. So it became like really, I would say like an infiltration into this channel partner environment. And then what happened was that their VP of corporate strategy was looking into the tools that were used by different revenue teams. So I was trying to get an idea, and then the channel team said, "Oh, we are also using Surf." And he said like, "Oh, why Surf?" And then he tried Surf. So you can imagine when we saw on our database that the VP of corporate strategy was testing Surf, everyone in the company was like jumping. And yeah, so this is like then we built the relationship. But it was really from starting from the partners, giving out free accounts, really asking not even for a partnership, not even to place it with some customer, just pure feedback, and like really understand if that was the case. And then of course this built it up because we also got to know more. So also with the partners we were using, I keep mentioning the medic framework, but we really were trying to understand, we were really trying to understand, okay, what is the criteria, like what's like you would choose Surf, why, who could be who could be like the ideal customer, like who would use it. So really like trying to understand if our product was a fit, and then work on that. Because if there is no value, then of course it would have put us in a situation where this narrative would have not worked. So it was really like building from down, building this value prop, and then making it into a success story. And then thanks for to the partner manager that was actually quite open and receptive of the partners feedback. We got where we are now with Pipedrive.
I love that story,
Amazing
and I
story.
I think that Marco said it really well. It was a very humble approach, but it worked. I mean, you were hacking it from the partners to the top, not the other way around. So I think it was
Yeah.
extremely smart, and it worked. And by the way, Marco came here because of the badge that popping up in Pipedrive. So I think that that's a great conclusion. Uh, Maybe we
Amazing.
can have a last question from
Yeah.
George, Tom, because then we
Yeah,
probably need to wrap it up.
maybe like a fast response. Marta, if I heard right at the very beginning, you're using Kiflo, and I'm about to start doing so as well. So I would like to ask if there are any
Sure.
PRM features that you find essential but often missing or undervalued.
I think, yeah, like very good question. Before I was not using Kiflo, I was using another tool that was not really good. So like Kiflo really like it brought an improvement. Yeah, that was really really noticeable. I think in general probably like this data aspect in the PRMs is undervalued. So like really making sure that we also have like a forecasting. So like very similar to what you have like in CRMs, for instance, in HubSpot, you can get, like this is the CRM we are using, you can get a forecast on the weighted value. So like really not just a forecast based on any stage, but like really making sure that you are having probabilities assigned to each stage. And then like based on that, you can really have an accurate forecast. So I think probably this is a part that I see like every PRM like struggles more in the data side, like also like showing me if I'm working on a recurring revenue stream, like how can I see like the total amount of contribution for partnerships, but as well the net new MRR generated, the upsells, the churn. So really like giving more of this data for me to evaluate like what is the performance of a partner. So not only like the transactions to pay the commissions, but really having this kind of smart data for me then to take decisions. I think that's a part that I've seen most PRMs lack, and actually, Steven is aware. Like Steven, the CEO of Kiflo, is actually. I think he would be tired of getting my feedback and requests for custom development once
We
he
love
stopped.
that, by the way. I mean, the product team loves your feedback, so we love it. So,
But
and
yeah,
thanks, George, for the
Uh,
question. So, well, I think that we need to wrap it up, but I want to
yeah,
first thank Marta. Thank you for this.
thank you,
Like, I
Marta.
think it was extremely valuable, and thanks for the time. Thanks for everyone that attended live, and also as a quick reminder. Everyone that attended live will have a chance to win not only 15% coupon code for Surf to test it out, and then also the chance to have a 1 hour free session consultation actually with Marta for to talk about partnership strategy or anything that you want with her. So that's a great thing that you will get. So we'll announce that in the upcoming days, and then also in August we are going to have, this is the last session of the season 1.
Season one
So
is
yeah,
ending. Yeah,
on a high note with Marta.
on a
And then
very
during
high note.
August, yes, we will have a recap during August of all the first episodes of the session. And then in September, we'll have the second season and we'll kick it off with a bang. Okay, so thanks again for the ones that joined live. If you're watching this recorded, we also appreciate that you subscribe and keep an eye on the upcoming content that is coming in August and then the sessions for season 2 in September. And again, Marta, thanks for your time. It was a real
thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure
Thank you
for
very
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
See ya,
Thank
see
you.
everyone in September. Have a great summer. Bye.
a good